welcome to Anne-Marie's Workshop. My name is Anne-Marie and I love to make things with joy. If you like to make things with joy or just watch other people make things with joy, then you have come to the right place. Please like, subscribe, and share. All right, this is my last anatomy of a sew that goes along with my hashtag Sew Reversible 2023 challenge to sew clothes that can be reversed. 2 outfits for the sew of 1. Anyway, I saved the best for last. My final make is a bomber jacket. I love bomber jackets. I love to make them. I love to give them away. But unfortunately, I haven't had too much use of a bomber jacket here in Jamaica. But it doesn't stop me from making them. I started making bomber jackets about 6 or more years ago. So this is my first reversible bomber jacket over here. All right, it was done with the great Mimi G's Simplicity Pattern 8222. And I will put a card above to show you all the details of the sew along on how to make this jacket. There are many bomber patterns that you can use. So let me show you this bomber jacket that I made for the Sew Reversible Challenge. This is Simplicity 8418 is what I used for this jacket. So this is my flower bomber jacket. It is made with that same material I got from Ping's, that black, fake kind of chiton raw silk feeling kind of material, but it's actually a polyester blend. And this flower applique work that I got from Temu. Fell in love with this fabric and made this jacket with it. So let me show you how it was put together, and you can see the anatomy of the flower bomber jacket. Now, first things first, when I decided to do this jacket, I needed to balance the fabrics for each side. I didn't want a jacket that was extremely heavy. In the other jacket that I made before, bomber jacket that I made reversible, I even lined the inside with a layer of flannel because I needed it for warmth, because most likely I'd be wearing that jacket in the evening. But in this case, I wanted it a little bit lighter. So the other trick about this is one of the fabrics was sheer. These appliques and everything are on a mesh. So there's no backing to it. So the backing of the jacket was going to be seen from the other side. So it's kind of like both sides were going to be dependent upon the same color black backing. One side of the bomber was going to be basic black with just some embellishments on the sleeves, and the other side was going to be sheer filled with flowers. So it was a little bit trickier. I did not do a sew along for this particular jacket because it was a little bit of a All right, so once I decided on the 2 fabrics, one was going to be that polyester blend, kind of has a raw silk look to it, and the other side was going to be that embellished floral net. I cut the 2 sides out, and then it was time to sandwich them together. Alrighty, so here are some of the features of my flower bomber. So I'm going to start on the flower side. Now, I was inspired by the Perfect Jacket creator, and I decided to embellish my sleeves on my bomber jacket. So the very first thing I did was to stitch a diamond pattern backed with fleece. Oh, I wish I could show you it. Backed with fleece, and then at each point I added either a butterfly crystal bead or this combination of 3 beads with a pearl in the center to give me this look. So I stitched these beads in place flat before they were ever added to the jacket to make it more manageable. And like I said, there is a piece of fleece inside of the jacket to give it its kind of tufted look. Now I got the idea for adding some of these 3D embellishments to the sleeve of the plain black side of the jacket, because after cutting out the pieces, I of course was left with scraps that had these three-dimensional flowers on them. So from the scraps, I cut out some of the three-dimensional flowers and I staggered them on the other side of the jacket sleeve. So I decided that these embellishments were going to be the only pops of color on the opposite side of the jacket. So the body would be plain black, and then I would have these leftover three-dimensional flowers attached to the other side, which I attached while the sleeve was flat before I sewed it in place. Once I sewed the shoulders and the sides in place and added the sleeves, then it was time to encase the ribbed collar sandwiched between the two jacket pieces. So I turned them inside out, sandwiched this collar between the two of them, stitched it in place, trimmed it, and then turned it back inside out and top stitched around the edge to keep it nice and firm and separate. Okay, now if you intend to add shoulder pads to your jacket, this might be the time to do it. I added a very small shoulder pad that I tacked in place on this black side of the jacket, and then I tacked it to the very corner of the top of the sleeve, and then I did the same thing on the other side. This is the only place where the jacket is secured together, so that the three layers are secure. Everything else is separate and loose. Now, because on my reversible bomber, the shoulder pads will be seen through the sheer side, I had to cover my standard shoulder pads because they had a slight sheen to them. You could see the white polyester batting underneath them. So I took some scraps and I covered the shape with the same fashion fabric that the sleeves and one side of the bomber is made with. Next, it was time to add the zipper. I used a separating zipper, of course, and I turned the jacket inside out and secured one side of the zipper in between the front and the back. And then I did the same thing on the other side. And so that way, each side of the jacket was secured. Alrighty. So once I have done that, it was time to add the band at the bottom. Now, this is a really great ribbed band. It could be used with leather. I bought this from Mood. They do a really wonderful knit moto jacket style ribbing. I believe they're about $7 a piece or something like that, but I wanted to use that for the bottom because I'm trying to use up the things I already have. The the ribbing that I used for the neck was a little softer, but this one is kind of official bomber jacket ribbing. So what I ended up doing was I stitched the ribbing in place on the black side, all right, with machine stitched all the way around. And then I turned it around and I hand stitched this ribbing in place on the flower side because I just felt like I had more control, because I did have 3D flowers that were spilling over the edge of the ribbing, but I thought it was such a nice effect that I stitched this by hand. It did not take that long to stitch it by hand. Now, as for the pockets, I really had to reverse engineer them because the pocket ended up being a 3-level affair. It was really tricky for my brain because I needed it to be there on the floral side, but I didn't want to stitch on the top. So I ended up making a double pocket on the inside that was only secured to the black side, right, with the top stitching, but it was not secured, but it was open. And this is the reason I didn't do a sew along, because this took some thinking. All right, to get that to work, where you see no stitching here, but there's a pocket. So I had to do some hand sewing and some mental sewing thought to get this to work. So that's it. That is how I made my flower bomber jacket. Those are all the pieces I put together. If you want to see a sew along of my first reversible jacket that's more intense and shows you all the steps I used to make that Mimi G jacket, then please follow the card that I placed in the middle of the video. It has been a gas making all these garments. This is my last one of this challenge. Already looking forward to next year, and I hope that you are having fun sewing along with me. I will be pulling prizes on Friday, September 1st. Bear with me if I will not be home. So bear with me. Hopefully my Wi-Fi and everything will work out for me. I'm going to be on the road on the way to a little vacation. So I'm hoping everything works out fine. But if not, no, it's all going to work out fine. I can't imagine doing it any other way. Anyway, thank you so much for participating. Thank you so much for coming along on this ride with me. I appreciate you indulging me in my quirkiness. Thank you so much. And I hope you had fun making your Sew Reversible garment. All right, then, take care. We'll see you soon.